Okay, thank you, Kiyo. First, I want to thank Professor Yuki Yomitsu for overcoming so many difficulties in order to organize such a large-scale academic event devoted to Japanese pop culture. I also want to thank Nanako here, and all the students who take care of us with so many zeal. And too bad that we French academics, we don't have such devoted students to help us and to become a kind of slaves to us. I also want to thank Professor Jacqueline Berndt, because Jacqueline took a major part in the organization of this event, and Jacqueline also took a decisive part in my personal academic life. Because Jacqueline was the first one to publish one of No, cannot proceed. Yeah. Okay. Because Jacqueline published my first ever piece of work about manga in a book. She edited with Steffi Richer, titled Reading Manga from Multiple Perspectives. And for an academic, a first publication about a new topic is a little bit like losing his or her virginity. And Jacqueline, I owe you very, very special thanks for this critical experience. It's also a great honor for me to be the first one to speak at this event. However, it might be a traumatic experience for those among you who are not familiar with non-native English speakers like me, cursed with heavy French accent. Okay, let's turn to the topic. And the topic is, does the dissemination of the Japanese pop culture around the world provide Japan with a certain degree of soft power, or bunka power? Since the turn of the century, this idea became very fashionable among the Japanese media and also in some circles of the Japanese political world. I started studying this topic with a small research group created in 2006, whose name is the Manga Network. And we conducted the first wave of survey among European manga readers in 2006 and 2007. And we gathered more than 1,000 questionnaires in 4 countries. The analysis of the data gathered in the first survey has already been published in 4 chapters of collective books, including one directed by Nissim Opaskin here, Nissim, and 2 other chapters written by Marco Pellitteri, who will speak after me, one in English and one in Italian. I briefly summarize the main conclusion of the first survey about the manga, about the image of Japan in relation to manga reading. First conclusion is that the image of Japan, the pre-existing image of Japan, is not at all changed or destroyed by the manga reading. What is this? Terrorist attack? Thank you. Well, reading manga does not destroy the pre-existing stereotypical image of Japan. namely the beautiful traditional image, you know, cherry blossom, kimono, haiku, and that kind of stuff. Second image is the image of the dynamic image of Japan as a modern, high-tech country. And third image, the negative image of violent and warlike Japan, samurai, World War II, and so and so. And unfortunately, the new image of Quad Japan ranks in the survey a distant force with no more than a few percentage points. And this is a bitter disappointment for the poor ambassador Doraemon here. Oh yes, the PowerPoint I use is a little bit different from the one you have been handed, which has been handed to you. So the second point is that there is no statistically significant relationship between the frequency and density of manga reading and the image of Japan in the reader's mind. To make it short, the data gathered during the first survey provide no proof at all that consuming Japanese pop culture generates a new and better image of Japan among the consumers. If soft power means a degree of influence and authority provided by a good, sympathetic, and positive image of a country, manga reading does not seem to generate this kind of power. And in face of some objection, we decided to deepen our investigation, especially because the first survey, in the first survey there are a lot, at least two big methodological problems. The first is that in order to qualify Japan, the respondents were offered by the researchers the choice between 25 qualifiers, and they had to choose from 5 to 10 of them. And of course, since the researchers predefine the image of Japan, there is a strong possibility that the answers reflect the image of Japan in the mind of the researchers rather than in the minds of the respondents, of course. And the second problem, big problem, is that the first survey, does not provide any data for comparing the image of Japan among the manga readers and among the non-readers. So whatever the image of Japan among the manga readers, there is no way to prove that this image, the image of Japan, is different from the image in the mind of non-readers. So no possibility to draw any conclusion. So we decided to launch a second wave of survey, a more extensive one, in connection with a project directed by Professor Louis and Professor Bert. We gathered about, at present, 2,200 questionnaires coming from a larger sample of countries, including Slovenia, Turkey, Morocco, Australia, and so and so. And also we made some face-to-face interviews. In order to solve the first problem, to check the validity of the result we got during the first survey, we asked the respondent to write the first 6 words that come spontaneously to their mind when they think about Japan. And only after doing so, they have to choose between the same 25 qualifiers than in the first survey. Also, in order to gather comparative data, we circulated a second questionnaire about the image of Japan among people who don't read any manga. So we have data for comparison. And also we added a qualitative dimension to our study by conducting face-to-face interviews with manga readers in France and Italy, and focus group discussion between readers and non-readers in Germany. To digitize such a large number of questionnaires, at present more than 3,000, in order to make sophisticated statistical calculation is a huge, huge task. It requires workforce, we need time, and last but not least, we need money. Nobody among the network, especially me, I must confess, worked full-time on this project. As a result, unfortunately, I must present today no more than preliminary observation, not conclusion, only observation about a few questions. Marco Pellitteri, after me, will make more detailed presentation about it. I just summarize my own observation on the comparative analysis of the sample from Turkey and part of the French sample gathered among my students at Sciences Po. The 6 words that spontaneously come to the mind of the respondent when thinking about Japan reveal the same stereotype than the 25 qualifiers of the first survey. And what we have here is that here among France and Turkey female students, and the next one French and Turkish male students, readers and non-readers. What is striking, I think, is the similarity. Pop culture is the most often mentioned item, followed by tradition, beauty, the classical tradition, and food. Be it in France and Turkey among manga readers, and also among the non-manga readers, note, the hierarchy is almost similar. And then you have high-tech. And so the conclusion is that, and note that the image of cool Japan ranks almost at the end of the hierarchy, so it doesn't figure in that table. So the second survey validates entirely the conclusion of the first one. The old stereotypes about Japan are still firmly rooted in the minds of the European youth. And in that respect, the difference between consumers and non-consumers of Japanese pop culture is minimal, not significant at all. So it seems that reading manga makes, once again, almost no difference. The readers and non-readers, the male and female, share the same image of Japan, at least it seems. And once again, poor Doraemon is bitterly disappointed. Well, however, the 6th word also reveal 2 other components essential for the image of Japan among the contemporary youth, be they French or Turkish. That's pop culture and food. Manga and sushi are the most often mentioned words, but in every category. The fashion for sushi and Japanese food started during the 1990s in France, before the manga boom. The country, at that time, the popularity of sushi was limited to the affluent post-modern urban consumers, but now even the teenagers from underprivileged social categories and people living in small